What's up, guys? I've got a Hisense portable air conditioner here. It's a 5,000 BTU unit, so it's for a small room. My model number is model number AP0522CR1W. This one was made at the end of 2021. I'm now in the middle of 26, so it's coming up on 5 years old, about 4 years old, and it was working great, but I got this used off of Marketplace for like 80 bucks in Arizona. Which honestly is a little more than I wanted to pay for it, but oh well, I needed it and I took a shot and it worked. It ran. So it was dirty. It was definitely had not been maintained. There's filters here that are removed that can be cleaned, and this is after, like, you know, a month. It's been a month since I cleaned it, and I'm not even a month since I cleaned it, but when I got it, it was all full of gunk. Same for this back here. This is another filter. So I cleaned those out, and this is after they've been cleaned. You can tell, like, it was not well taken care of. It didn't look like, but I think that's for most of these. People buy them, they run them until they break, and they throw them out probably. So down here is, another grate, but there's no mesh, there's no filter. So down here, you can see behind these coils here, this is after I've cleaned it. I didn't use any coil cleaner. I just used a brush. A gentle brush. This was already here, so there's some fin damage here just from over the years. Again, I've only had this thing for like a month, but we've been running it every night, just about. And I cleaned the coils, and then I think a day after I cleaned the coils, my daughter, this is her room, she was like, "Hey, it's getting hot in my room. I don't think the AC's working right." And I went to check it out, and sure enough, the fan was running. Well, actually, it had kicked off. It just shut itself down entirely. So then when I turned it back on, like, the fan would run for a second and then it would shut itself off. So kind of acting like it was a bad run capacitor. But I did a little more looking at it, and I unplugged it and, asked Grok and did some hoop jumping to try to see. And it still is not coming on. And then this last time I tried to turn it on, the fan wouldn't run, but there was some hissing noise. So pretty sure it's just a bad run capacitor, and I have replaced those on my own condenser units over time. So I was like, well, it should be a pretty basic job. So at any rate, there's about 8 screws that hold down this cage, which is just on the back of it. And I think there's 8 total screws that hold it down. I've got a bunch of them here. I started to take off the front as well, but I got ahead of myself, and then I was like, well, I can't find a video about these on YouTube myself, so I figured I'd upload one and see if I can help somebody else out. So anyhow, we've got hey, buddy, can you go play? I've got kids trying to come in here and play with me. Okay, so run capacitor. So yeah, about 6 or 8 screws like hold this thing down, and even after you take the screws off, it does take a little bit of playing with this to get it off. I think I actually kind of broke one of those little thingies. I think it was down here, but it's no big deal. You can get it off and you'll feel it go. You might use a flathead screwdriver and be a little more delicate than I was in hindsight. First time for everything, but either way, it does come off. If you get make sure all your screws are off, because there's screws down here and on the other side down there too that hold it, and then there's all around it on the back. So, or not all around, it's just on the back behind it. So make sure you get all your screws off, and it will come off. So it does come off, and then you see what I see here. We got our coils, we can see the compressor down here, okay? But I don't see a capacitor. So I did a little Grok search, and you can see this metal box here. Again, kind of got ahead of myself. But that metal box, if you're looking at the unit from the front, it's just this silver plate held in by 1 screw. So it's over here, and it's held in by 1 screw. That screw comes out, and it's just right here at the top. And here we go, and you can see, maybe barely, a capacitor right here. So that is the run capacitor. I have not tested it yet or taken it out, but there's the control board here. I am unplugged, of course, and that's where the run capacitor is located. So there's screws that hold in the front as well, and so I went ahead and started removing all those. It's one on each side here and on the other side, and then there's a couple up top. So I think it's only 4 screws that hold this in, and bear with me, guys. Sorry, again, sorry, not Steven Spielberg over here. Just trying to help some other homies out if they need it. So there we go. Yeah, it's a little better, I think. So what do we got here? We got a 50. Yeah, it's hard to see it. Okay, so we got 50 plus 12 UF plus or minus 5%. So hopefully you guys can read that okay. This thing's not really focusing super well for me, but at any rate, 250 vac. Yeah, so I should be able to remove this. If you know anything about run capacitors, you do have to discharge these before you remove them safely. You know, wear gloves, use an insulated screwdriver. And it's just 3 plugs that are on the top there. And you can get it with the needle nose pliers pretty easily. And just make sure you don't damage any wires. Hey, pal, how we doing? I'm making a little video, okay? Can you go play? Anyway, guys, that's where it's at. And that's what you would need to replace if you do have a bad run capacitor. It does look like it's held in with a little metal strap down here with a Phillips head. Yeah, just a round Phillips head screwdriver. So that should come out pretty easily. I'm going to go ahead and replace the run capacitor on this. And if it's back up and working, I'll continue the video from there. Just picking up where I left off here. So I got the run capacitor unhooked. It just has this metal clasp, 1 Phillips head screwdriver. It hooks in. You can kind of see that slot there to the back. So it comes out pretty easily. And then this dropped down pretty easily as well. And we've got 3 connections up here. We got the hermetic. You got your herm, your fan. I forget what that side's called. Oh, common, I think. See? Is that what it is? I think that's what it is, common. Yeah, common, fan, and hermetic. So I'm just going to take a picture of this so I remember where everything goes, and I'm going to run to Home Depot and see if they have another one like for like, and try to replace this thing and get it back up and running. Okay, guys, it's been a couple days. I ordered this on Amazon, a 50 with 12.5 MFD plus or minus 6, 370 volts capacitor, dual run. And on the volts, from everything I understand, because I think this one was the one that came out of this was like 250, you can go up in volt capacity, but you don't want to mess with these numbers too much. So the 50, that's for the hermetic, and this is for the fan. It was a 50 and a 12, so 50/12.5 will work fine from everything I looked at. So I already plugged it back in. It's this part. I mean, I feel like you should need a video for that. You just take a picture when you unconnect this stuff. So like the orange was the fan, the white was the hermetic, and I'd already had a picture of, you know, the common, how that was wired. So I just plugged it all back in. Goes in pretty easily. And the only thing that, this is going to fit back in fine, but that you do have to be careful for sometimes is if your capacitor fits in a certain space, you want to make sure that that replacement will also fit in that space, because sometimes they make them in goofy sizes, and it would depend on the AC unit that you're working on. Most of the time, it is not an issue, but on another portable that I'm working on, it had a really short capacitor, and it was just a single run capacitor, and finding one that was not too long for the chamber was a little bit of an adventure, but I was able to find it. So anyhow, but for this one, I've got my capacitor plugged back in, and so this plate covers that up. So I'm going to put everything back together just with, you know, screwdrivers and all that. So this is not this is for, you know, if you're in HVAC or you've got electrical background, you've got mechanical inclination, this might seem all kind of silly, but for those of you who were like me at one point, and you're just like kind of starting from zero and trying to save some money, hopefully this is helpful. Anyhow, that clips on and there's a screw. See this? So like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So this had a clamp over the first one. That clamp is not gonna, it's not gonna go all the way to the back wall, but I'll tell you what, you really don't need it. You know, even if you move this around a little bit, it's not a big deal. So probably not even gonna bother with that. Just put the plate back on, get this all put back together and fire it up and make sure it works. This cover goes back on with just the one screw. Very simple. There's a little hook at the bottom, just slots down. So you put the bottom in first, face up, line the hole up, put the screw in. If you took the front cover off, which I did, and you may technically not need to, I thought it did make it easier to get into that run capacitor. I did kind of connect the bottom first. It feels like it kind of clicks in a little bit. As I put this back around, I was having a difficult time lining these holes up, and that is only because this here has to clear a little lip. So that kind of snaps up top, and then your holes should line up and you can put your screws back in. After I put the screws in on the front cover, this back panel pretty easily snaps into place. Once it's snapped into place, then you can go ahead and add your screws, and that's pretty simple. Save yourself a little hassle. You've got this front cover with the LED touchpad, okay? It's got a little black wire that comes out of it just on the front. It unclips and plugs back in really easily. Go ahead and unplug it, count to 10 and plug it back in before you put it all back together. I had already put it back together and I tried to turn it on. It was having issues. It wasn't acting like it wanted to go. And I took it apart, unplugged that, plugged it back in. Then I fired it up and it worked great. Okay guys, it's been running here for about 10-15 minutes without any issues, which is the best it's run since I've had it. I bought this thing used on Marketplace, like from a college kid, for 80 bucks. And it's summer in Arizona, so that was pretty cheap. Took a gamble. It did work. It had been neglected, not well taken care of. I cleaned the filters and the coils on this thing thoroughly, and then obviously, like, it went out. Determined it was a capacitor that was bad, replaced the capacitor. When I put everything back together, this was showing like 88 and it wouldn't let me really do anything. So I took the front cover off again and just unplugged that display board for 10 seconds, plugged it back in, put everything back together, and it is now running properly. I've got a little infrared thermometer. You don't have to have one of these if you're just doing this DIY, but this is just to illustrate to you guys. So when I hold this right here, this is measuring the air going into the machine. Really shouldn't be reading that hot, but so it's pretty warm in here is the point. It says it's 81 in here. And look how cold that is coming out. So it actually was showing 10 degrees colder. This is a really cheap one. These can be a little inaccurate. Earlier I was getting like 53 degrees. Yeah, so if the unit itself gets warm, like I'm holding it in my hand for too long or whatever, then it'll start to read warmer. But a minute ago it was showing 80 degrees going into the machine. Yeah, just like that, 81.3, and reading 53 degrees coming out. So I've got almost a 30-degree split on cold air, on the ambient temperature of the room, the air that's going into the machine. It's taking in air that's 81 degrees and pushing air out that's 53 degrees. So that is super, super good. This room is going to cool down to 75 degrees or whatever in pretty short order. So appreciate you guys watching. I will try to upload other DIY helpful videos from time to time. Professional handyman out here, so see if I can be more helpful to you guys down the road.